Rick Santorum. We are joined on the line by Shira Center, who's political editor for the Boston Globe, ahead of the Jeb Bush announcement today. Shira Center, what will we hear as some of the themes of the 2016 Jeb Bush campaign?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me on this morning. I think one of the first things we'll hear from Jeb Bush's announcement today is a knock on Washington. He wants to separate himself from this really large and unpredictable field, and there are several senators running, several people who've worked for years, decades in Washington, D.C. I think one of the first themes he's really going to strike is saying we can't fix Washington with someone from Washington. And that not only is intended to set him apart from Washington, which obviously voters are not pleased with right now, according to many polls, but also someone like Marco Rubio, with whom he competes in Florida during the primary calendar.
He certainly will have a fundraising advantage and is expected to announce some fundraising totals this week. What's the anticipated amount that the Bush campaign will say is backing the candidate?
Well, there's this big number that's been floating around. Everyone thought he would reach $100 million in fundraising. So that's a huge number. It's possible, but we've heard that he won't make that. That's the latest out of that, which is disappointing, I think, for the Bush campaign, because they'd set expectations pretty high. $100 million would put them way ahead of the field. But, you know, in the new age of campaigns, all you need is a super PAC, right? So it's very possible that, you know, this campaign may not have raised $100 million, but the money's going to be there anyway.
Ahead of the announcement in Miami, the campaign released a YouTube video that was shot with Jeb Bush and people in Florida who've been affected by his policies there, affected positively, according to the campaign. They also released the logo of the campaign, which is just Jeb with an exclamation point. What's the significance of that?
You know, it's an interesting logo. I think, first of all, we've seen it immediately made me think of other candidates who've done similar logos. Lamar Alexander, for example, when he ran, he did Lamar, exclamation point. And I swear, as a reporter to this day, whenever I had to write Lamar Alexander's name in a story, I wanted to put an exclamation point after Lamar in the piece. But Paul Wellstone did a similar logo. But I think really the significant part of Jeb's logo is that he doesn't say the word Bush in it. It just says Jeb, exclamation point. And I doubt that is not on purpose. I'm sure by saying just Jeb, he hopefully does not, in his case, he does not want to remind voters of his family legacy. He wants to see like something new, fresh, and exciting, not something from the past.
And in that campaign video that he released on YouTube over the weekend, he's talking about, we're hearing from people in Florida that have been positively affected by his policies there in Florida. He served as a two-term governor, and entering in this race, it's been a long time since he's been on the campaign trail, for himself anyway. What's he have to do politically? What's the first order of business?
Well, I think like any candidate in an announcement tour, his first mission is not to mess up, right? This is the time when he really can't have any gaffes. He had a solid trip to Europe without any gaffes last week. So I think this is the first thing he has to do is not do that. Secondly, he does have to prove his viability and effectiveness in this campaign. Everyone thought he would be the 800-pound gorilla in this primary, and it has not turned out that way. He's not zapped up every bit of Republican oxygen in that field. So I think there is an argument he needs to make for electability on the Republican side, his conservative credentials to a degree. But what you'll probably hear him talk about today is his own effectiveness as governor. He's going to try to use that to stand out amongst this large crowd. And I think that's a whole lot of what that video was getting at.
Read more at bostonglobe.com, and you can follow Shira Center at Shira Center on Twitter. Thanks for the preview.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
You bet. And here on Washington Journal, we're asking your thoughts on the entry of Jeb Bush.